Here's a quick review over the WEN model RT6033 Plunge Router. At the time of purchase, this was $88 on Amazon. I'll put a link to that in the description. Alright, comes with its own case. Alright, there is the main unit right there. We got some styrofoam. Oh. There we go. Now here's your depth gauge. Has your little markings on there. I believe it is all in inches. You have your lock, you have your adjustment, you have your fine tune up here. Right over here is the adjustment for the router speed, and it is within thumb's reach of your main handle that has the switch, so that's within reason. Now the collet that comes pre-installed in it is a 1/2 inch, but it also comes with a 1/4 inch adapter that is just taped inside the case. And here's the height lever lock. Let's see what it'll do when I release it. Woo, there we go. All right, it is. The springs on it are very, very strong. Now this has a little depth stop turret that's supposed to be in 1/8 inch increments. I haven't measured it, but let's see how it turns. It is definitely stiff, but one nice thing about it is once it's in place, it does have a little bit of movement there, but hopefully that won't move on its own. You can hear it clicking. Now this only comes with one wrench because it has a spindle lock right here, and then that locks it in place so you can get those bits in and out easily. This router also comes with a straight guide fence, little measuring tool for that. This is a profile guide, little roller that attaches to this as well. You have a centering pin, I guess when you're making circles, a little dust port, I guess that could work. And I'm guessing a template guide. Now I'm going to test out this router, but just keep in mind I'm going to be using a cheap set of bits I also got on Amazon, so cheap and cheap. I'm going to be using a 3/8 roundover bit on some plywood. And this is a 1/4 inch shank, so I'm having to use the adapter. Now the router started up nicely and had a nice smooth glide across the bottom of this plastic base going across the wood. And it did have a little bit of tear out here. I have a feeling that's probably because I'm using a cheap bit. If I had a better quality bit, it would probably do a lot better. Let me show you up close about how soft and easy this started up. Now I've changed out the bit to a 3/8 inch straight bit so we can try out this plunge feature. And we're just going to be cutting into a 2x6. And those look like some pretty nice cuts to me. Now I'm going to swap over to a 1/2 inch dovetail with the guide fence to see how straight it'll cut. Oh yeah, that's a nice straight cut. A little dovetail there you can see on the end. Now this is a dovetail clamp. Let's see how it fits. Oh yeah, in there nicely. All right, some of the pros and cons to this setup. Definitely the price. I paid $88 for this. Now, of course, it was on sale when I got it for that price. It's normally, I believe, around $100, so keep that in mind. It is definitely a good price to get a plunge router with a bunch of accessories. So, I mean, that's hard to come by. A lot of times you buy just a regular router and it doesn't come with any accessories. So to come with all these little extras, that's a cool feature. Now, I did like the 15 amp motor. Everything I was using it for, it didn't have any issues, didn't bog down at all, and I'm sure it could possibly bog down if you're doing some really thick stock or maybe some real hardwoods that it could, like some routers can do on occasion. But overall, for what I believe I'm going to be using it for, that motor should be fine. Alright, some cons. Well, there is a lot of plastic on this. and unless you're real easy and gentle with some of this, there's a good chance you probably will break some of the knobs and little things on it if you're not careful. So if you're doing it real easy in your home shop, it probably should work for you as well. Now, one thing I did have was the lock here so I could add the bits in and out. I noticed it was sticking a little bit on mine, and well, I wouldn't say that is going to kill buying this whole setup. No, it seemed to work okay. Once it would get in there, I'd wiggle the collet down here and it would seem to come loose. But just something to keep in mind. And one last thing for a con, usually you get what you pay for. $88, even at $100. That's extremely cheap for this setup. So would I expect this to last 20 years? Absolutely not. But if you're on a tight budget, you're new to woodworking, you want to try out a router and just play around with it and hopefully maybe make some stuff with it, would I suggest it? Yeah, I probably would. Then over time, I would probably upgrade and definitely improve it. But overall, beginner router, I would definitely suggest it.